security challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate and indeed the National Assembly will work with the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC.
Senate President promises legislative support to ensure free, fair and credible 2023 elections.
The problem of oil theft has been diagnosed in the public space as resulting from the act of unpatriotic citizens.
And Senate ad hoc committee works towards ending crude oil theft. Welcome to Inside the Senate. I am Hussaina Amina Aboki, your anchor. The Senate resumed to plenary last week after its 2022 recess with the promise to collaborate with INEC and other stakeholders to ensure a credible election in 2023. It also attended to a motion on the attack on Senator Ifeanyi Uba in Anambra State, amongst other matters. In the committee room, the ad hoc committee established to investigate oil lifting, oil theft, and the impact on petroleum production and oil revenues commenced hearing towards finding ways and means to curb crude oil theft alongside other matters. All of these and more after the break.
The Senate will send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that agreement.
Raise a matter of urgent public importance, and we are aware that when this particular motion comes up
for a longer term development, arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Welcome back. The Senate's resumption on Tuesday, the 20th of September 2022, from its 8-week 2022 annual recess, marked the commencement of the last leg of its tenure. As it were, it has 9 months left until the end of the 9th Assembly. One of the high points of the resumption was the relocation of plenary venue to hearing room 022 of the Senate wing of the National Assembly complex, temporarily converted as the Senate chamber. This is because of the renovation of the main chamber. Senator Ahmed Lawan, in a welcome address, described this as a legacy the 9th Senate would bequeath on the next legislature.
The 9th National Assembly has insisted that this complex, the National Assembly complex, be renovated and remodeled to bring in line with the universal standard of good and suitable parliamentary environment. This again is going to be another legacy of the 9th National Assembly.
Amongst Nigeria's major challenges today is insecurity. Senate President Ahmed Lawan disclosed what the Senate has been doing in this regard.
We had intimate discussions on the security challenges across the country. Consequently, the leadership of the Senate had 2 engagements with the Office of the National Security Advisor, Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, Inspector General of Police, Director General of Department of State Services, Director General of Nigeria Intelligence Agency, and other heads of other security agencies, precisely on the 5th of August and 12th of September 2022, to ensure that our defense and security agencies improve on their operational strategies.
Another challenge the Senate President lamented over is oil theft, which he alleged is massively depriving Nigeria of the much-desired revenue. He called for quick action by the government to bring it to an end.
Revelations about the scale of oil theft shows that until government takes decisive actions, Nigerians could soon lose any revenue. Nigeria could soon lose any revenue from that sector. We must therefore work to ensure that everything is done to curtail this theft.
While giving his colleagues a pass mark for their superlative performance, the Senate President stated that Nigerians would be expected to exercise their franchise during the 2023 general elections.
Therefore, the Senate and indeed the National Assembly will work with the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to ensure very successful, transparent, and credible elections. Already, the timely amendment of the Electoral Act 2022 has provided very important innovations in ensuring better electoral climate.
Senator Ahmad Lawan then urged his colleagues to prepare themselves for the 2023 budget, which will most likely be presented by President Muhammadu Buhari in the first week of October 2022. Another matter on resumption was the reading of 4 letters from President Muhammadu Buhari conveying the approval by the Federal Executive Council for the establishment of a promissory note in the sum of 375.48 billion naira to settle outstanding claims owed to various exporters from 2007 to 2020. Seeking Senate approval of a promissory note in the sum of 6.7 billion naira for Kebbi State, 2.4 billion naira for Taraba State, and 18.6 billion naira for Yobe State for the construction of various number of federal roads within the states, as well as seeking consideration of the 2023-2025 MTEF and FSP, in which the President expressed worries over the fiscal profile.
The fiscal condition of the federal government over the medium term. Some of these measures require the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning to work collaboratively with the relevant committees of the National Assembly, and I hereby seek your support for such efforts.
In another letter, President Muhammadu Buhari sought Senate confirmation of Mr. Muhammad S. Lamido as an Executive Commissioner, Finance and Accounts of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission to replace Mr. Hassan Gambo, who was occupying the position until his demise.
Please accept, distinguished Senate President, the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.
The requests have been referred to the appropriate committees for more legislative action. Meanwhile, names of new committee chairmen and vice chairmen were also announced. They are Senator Yahaya Abdullahi, Chairman, Committee on Agriculture; Senator Smart Adeyemi, Chairman, Committee on FCT; Senator Biodun Olujimi, Chairman, Committee on Aviation; Senator Abdullahi Dambaba, Chairman, Committee on Security and National Intelligence; Senator Elisha Abo, Chairman, Committee on Primary Healthcare and Communicable Diseases; Senator Michael Inachi, Chairman, Committee on Diaspora and NGOs; Senator Ibrahim Gobir, Vice Chairman, Rules and Businesses Committee; and Senator Danju Mala, Vice Chairman, Committee on Police Affairs.
In view of the points raised, Mr. President, I wish to accordingly urge the Nigerian Senate to 1. Observe a meeting.
The Senate also considered a motion under matter of urgent public importance, sponsored by Senator Uche Okunife, on the attack on the convoy of Senator Ifeanyi Uba on Sunday, the 11th of September 2022, at Enugu in Njikoka local government area of Anambra State. According to her, this led to the demise of several of Senator Ifeanyi Uba's aides alongside 2 policemen. While lamenting the killings, she gave a gory tale of other crimes being perpetrated in the southeast.
A serving lawmaker in Anambra State House of Assembly was recently kidnapped, murdered, and gruesomely beheaded. These attacks by armed men have continued in the southeast, despite repeated government assurances to address this pervasive security crisis in our country, especially in the southeast.
Senators contributed to the motion.
As a body, we need to look deeper into the problem of insecurity. We must do a lot more, because if this can happen in broad daylight to a man who had a convoy of more than 6 cars, you can imagine what will happen to people who are driving in single cars.
The level of insecurity we have in this country demands that all hands must be on deck. The state governors, ourselves in the parliament, should be involved. And I'm saying this with all sense of humility, that some of the governors need to do more. Because when killings are going on under your watch as the chief security officer of a state, and you are saying nothing, That tells of the incompetency that is inherent in some of these governors.
Each and every one of us is going into campaigns, and we're all going to be at home and we will be running around. That means that nobody is safe. Noting also, sir, that when kidnapping started in the south, it's spread all over the country now. So we don't want this type of ugly incident to spread throughout the country. I wish each and every one of us safety in going around our business in Nigeria.
One of the resolutions adopted was to direct the Nigerian police, DSS, as well as other security agencies to investigate, arrest, and prosecute the perpetrators of the act and report back to the Senate. Those were some of the motions deliberated upon and resolutions adopted on them. Next is our notebook segment. Stay tuned for our subject matter for the week.
The legislature performs the following functions: 1. Lawmaking. 2. Representation. 3. Appropriation. 4. Oversight duties. 5. Ratification of bilateral treaties, as well as 6. Screening and confirmation of presidential nominees, a function carried out by the Senate only.
Welcome back. The Senate, in the deliverance of its mandate, screened the acting Chief Justice of the Federation, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, for confirmation as the substantive Chief Justice on Wednesday, the 21st of September 2022. The nominee's name was presented in a letter from President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday, the 26th of July 2022. The report of the screening is compiled and presented from our studio.
After being ushered into the chamber, the Senate President, in a welcome address, told the nominee that the exercise is an opportunity for him to tell Nigerians the difference he would make when confirmed as the CJN.
It's also an opportunity for us to ask questions that maybe agitate our minds on the judiciary. But what is very, very critical and certain is we are in government together. We are simply the legislative arm, and therefore our wish as a parliament is for the judiciary to be as effective, as efficient, and successful as possible.
Thereafter, the nominee parried questions on topical issues affecting the Nigerian judicial system alongside other matters.
I'd like for you to speak on your vision and your plan for repositioning of the Nigerian judiciary.
The judiciary of Nigeria is suffering of lack of funds. We're trying to introduce technology. This has gone far in other climes. It is my desire to introduce like key filing and electronic service of processes. By October, when we are doing our legal year, that lawyers may soon address the court from the comfort of their chambers.
We've witnessed unnecessary delay in the administration of justice in our country. The Supreme Court suffers that the most, confirmed today. How will you address the issue of this delay in the administration of justice in our country?
We are supposed to be constitutionally 21 justices. But we are 13 now. We need to appoint more justices. It's only by the constitutional amendment that that can happen. And the constitution can only be amended not by the courts, but by this distinguished House, Senate.
After several other questions, the nominee was asked to take a bow and leave. At the end, the question was put up for the confirmation of Justice Olukayode Ariwoola as the Chief Justice of the Federation.
Welcome back. The Senate in April set up an ad hoc committee to investigate oil lifting, oil theft, and the impact on petroleum production and oil revenues. The committee commenced hearing on Wednesday, the 21st of September 2022, when it resumed from its annual recess. Let's get details of the hearing in our next report from the committee rooms.
I am most pleased to welcome you to this investigative hearing.
The hearing was declared open by the Senate President, who was represented by the Senate Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Isa Shuaibu Lau. He observed that one of the major factors militating against the nation's revenues is oil theft, which he said has impacted negatively.
The problem of oil theft has been diagnosed in the public space as resulting from the act of unpatriotic citizens and the connivance of sections of our agencies that should otherwise have been responsible for preventing the act. Government is cognizant of the antics of those saboteurs, but will stop at nothing to checkmate them. The National Assembly will also not rest on its oars in preventing all national and regulatory support to ensure that resources meant for the whole do not end in the hands of few.
It is quite unfortunate.
In his submission, the committee chairman stated that an on-the-spot assessment of the situation by the committee revealed that the problem is not attributable to oil theft alone.
We were also convinced that it's not all the oil that are stolen, but because of the inability to have an evacuation access, most of the wells are shortened. We share a little instance of the burning oil exporting terminal, which is run by Shell. This terminal, over a year ago, was exporting over 60 tankers of oil, minimum 1 million barrels per tanker, over a year ago, a month. But in the last 7 months, not one drop of barrel has been exported through that terminal.
He said Nigeria loses over 700,000 barrels of crude oil a day. Stakeholders took turns to make submissions. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC) in its presentation disclosed that oil production level dropped to 1.23 million barrels per day, alongside a revenue loss of $2.1 billion, which is 872 billion naira at 4.15 to $1. The representative spoke further on actions embarked upon to end the trend.
One of the things we do in terms of monitoring end-to-end is to ensure that cargo clearances are properly conducted with the relevant government agencies. Also, we have gone around all the infrastructure, trying to establish where there are lacked units and where there are no lacked units. And of course, we've had a lot of work in terms of looking at the metering across the various infrastructure.
One of the stakeholders spoke on the complicity of security agencies in the whole arrangements.
There is a strong collusion from our security forces. There is no doubt at all. From our army to our naval officers, we have some level of information. Even there are some army officers, they pay their superiors to post them to some areas in the Niger Delta. There was a particular case that happened that some cells of army, there is a brigade command in Port Harcourt around Elele. When they changed the brigade commander, they were about recalling the people that were working there and swap them with new sets. Those people that were recalling, they were almost fighting their commander because they don't want to leave. Because what they were doing there was quite lucrative. So I think the solution to all this is holding our security forces accountable, holding the naval officers accountable, holding the army accountable. When we do this, I think this problem will be largely solved.
The representative of Total Energy disclosed that their problem is on the onshore terrain, as according to him, they recorded no loss on the offshore and deep water operation.
In the last few months, we've been putting all of our efforts in place to try to find alternative means of getting oil exported from this field onshore. And we are yet to find the silver bullet for it, but the efforts are continuing also in collaboration with the operator of the Trans-Niger pipeline.
A representative of Chevron Oil spoke on actions taken to address the challenge as it affects them.
As part of the efforts in trying to manage the issues around our assets vandalism as well as oil theft, we established a program working very closely with the communities called the Community Pipelines Facility Surveillance Program. This surveillance program made us provide some additional funding to those communities. They use that to procure things like survey boats, security boats, and use that also to engage some members of the youth to ensure and protect our assets.
The police leadership established a specialized unit in the police force, known as the IGP Special Task Force on Petroleum and Illegal Bunkering. A unit saddled with responsibilities for the protection of the nation's oil and gas infrastructure. We have an attachment here, Honorable Chairman, of activities of the Nigerian Police Force the past years as regards seizures of trucks, prosecution, and also we have tried to highlight very briefly what we think are obvious challenges.
At the end, the committee promised to work on all submissions to prepare a report for submission to plenary for more legislative action.
Inside the Senate now ramped up with our profile segment. Stand by for our Senator of the Week.
Senator Muhammad Adamu Alero was born on the 1st of January 1957. He represents Kebbi Central Senatorial District, formerly under APC, but now PDP, following his defection on Thursday the 9th of June 2022. He started education in an Islamic school before proceeding to Alero Primary School for his first school leaving certificate, as well as Government Secondary School Koko for his West African School certificate in 1976. Proceeded to Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, for a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science in 1980. Senator Alero worked briefly with the Sokoto State government before joining the Nigerian Customs Service in 1981, serving till 1997 before resigning to start a business as an importer and exporter. He joined politics in 1998. In 1999, he contested and won election as Kebbi State Governor, serving 2 terms from 1999 to 2003 and 2003 to 2007 under the All Nigerian People Party ANPP. He was also Minister of the FCT from 2008 to 2010. He contested to the Senate in 2015 under the People's Democratic Party and won, serving 2 terms from 2015 to 2019 and from 2019 till date. In the Red Chamber, he is Chairman, Senate Committee on Works and a member of several other committees. His legislative interests include education, agriculture, and security.
This brings us to the end of the program this week. Join us next week for another edition. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook for more updates. Thanks for watching.